Hi guys, welcome back to Elizabeth Ann Reads. Today I am doing the 22 books I would like to read in 2022. I make lists like this every year, books I want to read or authors I want to read, and I almost always fail. I always fail. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep trying. So 22 books I want to read in 2022. Every single one of these books is a book I wanted to read last year. These are books that made the trip with me from Oregon to Tennessee, and they are not books I've bought recently. They're all ones that I have fully intended to read in the last year or 2 years and still haven't. So that's why they're going on this list. I need to read them. So yeah, let's just get started. We're going to start with some classics. First is Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. I love C.S. Lewis, but I have not read this. This is a retelling of Cupid and Psyche, I believe. And that's pretty much all I know. But I'm going to read it and find out more and let you know. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I love Dickens. This is the one I've chosen to read this year. I need to read more classics. I need to be purposeful in reading more classics. Book 3 is The Scarlet Pimpernel by Baroness Orczy. I'm pretty sure I read this one in high school. I'm positive I read this one in high school or shortly thereafter, because at that time I was kind of obsessed with the movie starring Jane Seymour from the 80s, which you should totally go watch if you have not watched it. So I did read this, but I don't remember it. I want to read it again. I know there's a whole series. I don't know if I intend to read the whole series, but I definitely want to read this one again. And then book 4 is The Scarlet Letter, sticking with that Scarlet theme. I almost said I've never read Nathaniel Hawthorne, but I have read a short story by him, which I really liked. I want to read more. I want to be better versed in early American literature. So Nathaniel Hawthorne it is. Book 5 is Adam Bede by George Eliot. George Eliot is another author I have never read. A while back, I think it was Kate Howe did a video about George Eliot and a good starting point, and this is actually what she recommended starting with. So I picked it up, and I'm going to read it this year. And continuing on with the list of authors I've never read, I have Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Not only have I not read Tolstoy, I haven't read any Russian classics. So we're going to tackle Anna Karenina this year. Alright, moving away from classics into some historical fiction. Book 7 is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. I feel like I don't even need to tell you about these books because everyone's read them but me. But this is about a man who basically spends his entire life under house arrest in Moscow. Book 7 is The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This again, historical fiction, pack horse librarians. Everyone's read it but me. I don't need to tell you what it's about. Book 8, another one everyone's read, that is The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. I haven't read Kate Quinn either. This is the one I have, so this is the one I'm going to read. Did I say book 8? That was book 9. I think I said 8. That was 9. Book 10, continuing on with some historical fiction, I have What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. This, I think, has to do with Ireland, 1921. I've heard great things about Amy Harmon. This book came highly recommended to me by a friend, and I would like to read it. Book number 11, As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner. This one's also set in the 20s, I think. Oh, 1918. I was close. And I think it has to do with the pandemic. But again, I have not read any Susan Meisner, and I'm going to remedy that this year. Book 12 is We Were the Lucky Ones by Georgia Hunter. More historical fiction, World War II. This one I think is based or inspired by a true story. Maybe inspired by the author's grandparents? I'm not positive, but I want to read this one. Book 13 is The Scent Keeper. This one, I think I heard about this one from Krista over at Books and Gems. And I think it has to do with a remote island and scents stored in glass bottles. And I don't know, it just sounded different and interesting, and I want to read it. Alright, we're moving into some fantasy now. Book 14 is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Pretty sure this book has been on this list for 2 years now. This is the 3rd year. This is going to be the year. If I don't read it at the end of this year, do I really want to read it at all? Let's be real. Book 15 is Sin Little Sins by Josiah Ben. This is another book that everyone's been talking about. I think it's one I'm going to really love, and I need to try it. Book 16 is The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson. Mistborn Era 2. I am going to reread Mistborn Era 1, I think, before I get to this one, but I will definitely get to this one this year because book 4 is coming out, and I want to get to the series before that, so I'm ready for that one. Book 17 is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. This is more fantasy. This one's actually on my January TBR, so we're going to knock it off right at the beginning of the year. I've had this one for a while. I received it as from someone else, and it was already, they annotated it, so I'm excited to, you know, get into it. Book 18 is Sufficiently Advanced Magic by Andrew Rowe. This is another fantasy series. I heard quite a bit about it for a very brief period of time, but I haven't heard anyone talk about it lately. It sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know. I don't know. I want to try it. Book 19 is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is sci-fi, and I believe it's dual perspective, and I believe one of those perspectives is spiders. So that sounds amazing, and I'm going to try it. Book number 20 is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This is I think this is a dystopian, I think it's a dystopian. I read Kindred the year before last and really liked that one, and have been meaning to pick up this one ever since. Next up, book 21 is Just One Damned Thing After Another by Jodi Taylor. This is the first in a series. I think it's a mystery series, historical series. I think it's a time travel, maybe. Like history through time travel. I'm not really sure. But I want to try it. And then the very last book on this list, book 22, is The Arithmetist by Sanderson. I don't really know anything about this one. I think it has to do with a magical school setting. But it's Sanderson. And that's pretty much all I need to know. I would love to know what book you are definitely planning to get to this year, so I can cheer you on. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.